It's Halloween!
Woo!
The best holiday.
There's both candy and horror movies. It's everything I want.
He's a child at heart.
Child at heart. And visually. Even though we can't have a Halloween party, we can still make some spooky appetizers and snacks, which we can then eat on the couch without judgment because no one's around.
So let's get started.
We're gonna start with the thing that takes the very longest to make, and that is our slow cooker mulled spiked cider. And we're gonna start with a full gallon of some fresh apple cider. I'll reserve a tiny bit because that's quite a lot. That's kind of high. Got a lot to add to it. Starting with 1 orange, which we've sliced into 1/4 inch rounds, and then we've got an inch or so of ginger, which we've sliced just the same.
Ginger.
So then into a mesh bag or some wrapped cheesecloth, or just chuck it in whole. We've got a tablespoon of whole cloves, and then we've got 5 cinnamon sticks. I don't even think this is gonna fit. I'm just gonna let them float on top, just to show you how easy it is at home. Plunk. So I'm just going to top off with the rest of our apple cider. We're gonna cook this at low for 4 hours. The spiking doesn't come in until the very end. Once we've cooked it for 4 hours, we're going to add some either bourbon or dark rum to it. It will be essentially ready to serve. You can even leave it virginal like that for those with a lower constitution. Anyway, there's no time for shenanigans. We do have a lot to get to. And now we're going to make the least thematically appropriate item on our list today. It's going to be the cocktail meatball. That's because all of my cute Halloween treats, all my little spooky snacks, they were very sweet. They were desserts, and I didn't want to let everyone crying like, oh, this is just all sugar all the time. I want something like substantial. So found something savory, and you know what? It's delicious. It's also a good time to remind yourself that things don't always need to be thematically appropriate if they are delicious. You shouldn't get too cutesy. Anyway, we're gonna heat the oven to 350. Because I didn't say what we're gonna make, but we're making cocktail meatballs. Because everyone loves them. Everyone wants to eat that. You know, have them like they're sitting in the sauce like a Swedish meatball. You don't like them? You don't like them?
What kind of sauce?
It's gonna be you're not gonna like it. They are they're a cocktail party standard. You know, you got your little drink, and you got your little toothpick, and you're just like, oh. Now to start cocktail meatballs, we're gonna start with the meatball recipe we used often in Quarantine Kitchen. That's gonna start with 1 pound of lean beef, or any sort of cooked fish. That's the fun thing about meatballs. To that, we've got a handful of minced onion and 2 tablespoons of water, a 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs, and then 1 egg. This we are mixing together by hand. After we get this mixed a little bit, we're gonna add some salt and pepper.
Salt Bae.
Like everything in our Halloween snack set, they're not complicated, they're not tricky, they're not fancy. There's other times to bust out those skills. I'm making these about walnut sized. These are just gonna go in the oven for about 20 minutes. We're gonna check on them, see how they do. Now we need to start on the cocktail sauce. And in the spooky Halloween tradition, we're gonna use 2 quite terrifying ingredients here in our sauce, because remember, we are not doing this fancifully. So with that, we are going to start with 8 ounces of jellied cranberry sauce. Something that I never in my life imagined I would purchase. Oh, good God. This could go into the crock pot, but as you can see, we are currently using our crock pot. So no dice. Following that, we have got 3/4 of a cup of chili sauce. So this is 3/4 of a cup that we're adding. Tomato puree, distilled vinegar, corn syrup, salt. Let's see why this is chili sauce.
Isn't that ketchup?
This is just ketchup. We're gonna add a tablespoon of brown sugar, and then we're also going to add a 1.5 teaspoons of lemon juice. So now that we've got everything in there, we're just going to mash it up a little bit and then wait for our meatballs to finish. Now that we've got our sauce mushed down a little bit, we are going to throw our meatballs directly into the pool. So I'm going to give these guys a bit of a stir, make sure they are all covered in some of the sauce. This goes on low for 1 hour. For our next recipe, we are making some mummy jalapeno poppers. And for that, we're gonna need 8 ounces of cheese. This time I've got pepper jack, and even though these are going to be easy, quick recipes, I don't like to skip one. I don't like to pre-shred it. It doesn't melt well. Look at that cheese fall. This is how I open all things, like a raccoon. 8 ounces of room temperature cream cheese go into the bowl. This I am mixing up by hand. Oh my God, I grabbed too small of a bowl again.
Maybe ASMR.
So now for our mummy jalapeno poppers, I've got about 10 jalapenos, which I have sliced in half, seeds removed, stems on. And then I've also, just because they managed to pop out in our fall garden, but we've got 2 habanero peppers. We are just going to get a wad of our cheese mixture and we are going to jam it in. Now we've got 1 pack of crescent roll dough. Which we are going to quickly roll out because the longer it sits out, the warmer it gets and then the softer and smushier it gets. Now we don't want triangles, we want rectangles. So we are going to separate these into 4 parts. We are going to then smush them together at the perforations. And then with a pizza cutter, we are going to cut each of these rectangles into 10 thin strips. This is why you don't want to work slowly. Now with each jalapeno popper, we are going to start to wind up our mummies. The important thing is to leave room for the eyes though. It may take a few strands. You may need to stretch. That's okay. Now that our mummies are all properly wrapped, we have 2 eggs beaten in a bowl that we are just going to brush our filling with.
Susan, Eric's.
We're gonna bake these for about 8 to 10 minutes in a 400-degree oven. We want them to get just a little bit browned. They look pretty good for the most part. There was some spillage, but we've got the browning we are after. So now we just need to do the very last and most critical of step, the candy googly eye. I would say if there's any aspect of this I disagree with today, it is the googly eyes because they are candy. Who wants candy? I mean, I do because this is adorable, but that is the last flavor I would like. Oh man, he's a little wonky.
You're killing our children.
I'm giving them sight. Now it's time for Monster Munch. In a bowl, I've got 2 cups of kettle corn popcorn and then 1 cup of pretzels. We're gonna spread them out on a parchment light baking sheet and we're gonna make sure they get into a single layer, but we want them to be pretty tight together. Now we've got a cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips that we are going to melt very slowly in the microwave. So we're gonna do that at a low heat and we're gonna stir often. That looks pretty well melted. Now you could use a piping bag, but this seems easier to just quickly drizzle it back and forth over all of our popcorn and pretzel mix. I'm gonna go back and forth a few times because you wanna make sure there's almost nothing uncovered really. Now before it dries too much, I've got half of a cup of M&Ms sorted out to just the yellow, brown, and orange, the fall colored M&Ms or the Reese's Pieces colored M&Ms. And then I've also got a half cup of candy corn and I'm just going to sprinkle this over top of the still melted chocolate.
I feel like it'd be better with just plain chocolate chips.
That's an idea. This is done and looking nutritious. We've got a second layer of chocolate, this time white chocolate chips. 1 cup again. Did the mash, did the monster mash. The Monster Munch. So now we've got our white chocolate, and we are just gonna do the very same thing, but with less enthusiasm. And now finally, we are just going to lightly cover this in sprinkles. With those done, we are gonna throw this in the fridge for about 10 minutes so it can cool down, and then we're gonna break it apart. And finally, for real this time, we've got Dracula Dentures, which I don't have anything for that. Previous to this, we've made some chocolate chips with semi-sweet chocolate, chopped bittersweet chocolate, and then a bit of chocolate shavings there just for fun. These we have cut in half and we are going to use for the base of our dentures. They look delicious. So soft and buttery. That's a different episode. To hold this all together, we need a little bit of glue. So we are going to use some frosting. In this case, I have used some cream cheese frosting because that sounds better than vanilla. I'm only gonna make 2 because I'm pretty sure these are gonna be tooth-achingly sweet. That seems like too much. To this, we're going to add some red food coloring. Next, you're gonna get your mini marshmallows ready. For our bisection cookies, we are going to gently flip them over, and we are going to paint a healthy portion of our red frosting along the edge. Along the rim, we are going to plant our mini marshmallows. If they're not perfectly straight, that is okay because this is supposed to be a ghoul of sorts. They do not have the greatest of dental hygiene options. Oh God. Oh God in heaven. It was my first try. The very last piece, which is, I think, inappropriately small, we have got our vampire teeth. That's too much frosting. We're gonna probably make Susan do it and then edit it so it look like I did. Absolutely beautiful. Everything kind of just smells like apple cider and cinnamon.
Try that one first.
It is not quite spiked yet, though. I wanted to save that treat for later. Whew. I think those flavors need to meld together a little bit longer. I think this will be better overnight because I get a strong punch of the apple cider, and then I get the cinnamon, and then later I get the very citrusy notes from the clementine. It's all very spaced out. I want it smashed together. I want it to sit overnight, and then I want to fill it full of like a dark rum. But now I think we need to go in order of, if this was our 4-course meal, I think then the mummy jalapeno poppers would be the appetizer. Ooh. Do mummies make that noise?
No, they don't talk because they're wrapped around.
Clink.
This is so good.
Dangerously close to these candy eyes, though.
I was gonna say I'm gonna pick those up.
This is pretty good. Not great. I think they're a bit too sweet, though.
I think the crescent roll just makes it sweet.
Because that crescent roll is like candy sweet. I think it needs to be balanced out a little bit better. These are our cocktail meatballs. We need like a cutesy name to make it sound appropriate for Halloween.
Bloody meatballs?
Why not?
I wanted that one.
Oh my God. Such a princess.
Oh! That's what the sauce reminds me of. Sloppy Joe. Like exactly like them.
It's not bad. I don't mind that. I don't love it. I think it's just a little too artificially sweet. If I'm being particular. Now, if I'm at a cocktail party eating this, I'm not going to complain. I'm going to shove it in my face and keep walking. What should we try next?
This one.
The Monster Munch. If you'd like to save any candy corn pieces for me, I would appreciate it. I think this too will be a lot better overnight once it solidifies a little bit more.
I think pretzel, popcorn, dark chocolate, white chocolate would be good.
That crunch of the M&Ms though, so good. I like that.
I don't think it needed candy corn.
Disagree. These are hearty sandwiches. This looks.
Arrgh.
So it's a bunch of cream cheese frosting shoved between 2 cookies and a bunch of marshmallows. It's as sweet as you would expect. It's not misleading.
I don't like marshmallows with my cookies.
Is it bad that I like this?
I need something salty.
I don't think those flavors really complement each other either.
This is purely for like decoration.
None of that really should be there.
Same with the mummy jalapeno peppers.
Yeah, the crescent roll dough does not complement it at all. It doesn't need dough. It needs like a little breadcrumb coating.
These eyes look like a boob.
How do you feel about Halloween appetizers?
I love Halloween appetizers. Well, I like appetizers. I don't need it to have different flavors that don't match just to make it Halloween.
In this like this intimate little Halloween gathering that the two of us will be having, I don't know if these are what I needed. But I guess that's not a very good advertisement for watching this video. So apologies if you're 20 minutes in. Make this though. This is good.
That one's my favorite.
This and the Monster Munch. I like the Monster Munch. I like the Munch. I like the Monster Munch. Make sure to like and subscribe. We post a video every Wednesday and Sunday.
Thank you.
You want to try some?
No.